Now, as I think this might be part two, maybe. November 22nd, 1963 creates our modern reality. Vietnam, Middle East, Iran-Contra. Probably none of these events happen either in that order or happen at all because of November 22nd, 1963. But it is also important to understand that these events do not take place unless two shots happen in the Balkans. Unless Archduke Ferdinand does not get in the car and drive down the street. November 22nd, more than likely, does not happen if John Wilkes Booth doesn't put a bullet in Abraham Lincoln's head. See how great history is now? How we can play with those timelines and create alternate realities. If November 22nd, 1963 doesn't happen, there's a good chance that Malcolm and Martin are not dead, are not assassinated. There's a good chance many of the men and men who went to Vietnam don't die. Because there's no Vietnam. So, what then? Would we be living in a post John F. Kennedy Jr. presidency? Because who's to say he wouldn't go into politics and follow in the family business? Because that's what Kennedys do. So, as historians, as these weavers of consciousness, as these weavers of time, as we are as historians, it is important for those lay people who say this is not important. Who cares about JFK or the events of November 22nd, 1963? Those that mock us, as you will, and laugh at us for finding our passion within these stories or these tales that we have studied and learned. It's hard for many of us to be able to communicate to mere mortals the importance of comprehending and understanding history and understanding events such as November 22nd, 1963. Is that the only part of JFK's life that is important? No, it is not, because P-2109, the boat that he was upon in the Japanese, near the Japanese sea areas during World War II, where he rescued his crewmen by swimming, that got him a medal for it. That medal, JFK Jack, achieving that, saving the lives of his crew, gave him a medal for bravery and all these other things. And his brother Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. said or thought or felt that he needed to do something more important than his younger brother, because Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. was the chosen one. So Joseph F. Kennedy Jr. Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. got on a plane with a bomb in it, and it blew up rather than when he was supposed to drop it off. What are the chances of that happening? Bobby Kennedy loses his brother. And 5 years later? Yeah, 5 years later, tries to follow in his brother's footsteps. Except for one fateful night in California. Robert never dies. Edward Kennedy probably runs for office, but that was what I'm thinking. Chappaquiddick never happens. History. See how just the twisting of a few things in history can alter the course of many different realities. If you look at the things that happen simultaneously with a specific event in history, if you're looking at things that may have happened in Jerusalem, but then aligning them with things that probably happened in Rome simultaneously, you have to then ask yourself, does one world have an impact on another? In the case of Jerusalem 2,000 years ago, nobody cared what happened in Jerusalem in Rome, because Jerusalem was or is a speck to the Roman scale. So if that's the case, any major ideology that's public, that everybody can see, that people are following or people are learning about, this particular mainstream ideology, which would have been what the Roman Empire believed in, is not going to be affected by a small, don't nobody know about it ideology. What happens is the little known ideology that nobody cares about outside the little circle that it's in adapts itself to the larger culture and creates characters that do the same thing as the other cultures. So if you have a Superman in one comic strip, you may possibly have a Iron Man in another. If you have a Superman or a Batman in one comic strip, you're liable to have a I want to say Iron Man again in another one, because most people think that because Marvel is big now, that Marvel has always been big. Most people who don't know history don't know that Marvel was near on its death door when DC was big. So your Iron Man is literally a bite or spinoff from Batman. So if you look at historically speaking, when we are talking about events that happen, larger culture or larger perspective, things happen to those icons like JFK. What happens then is history is that magnet of JFK affects the rest of history and alters the course of how historians see things. As President Abraham Lincoln's death procession travels down New York, two boys are in a window. One of them would inspire our longest serving president-elect by being his fifth cousin removed. And Teddy Kennedy. Not Teddy Kennedy. Somebody's talking about Teddy Roosevelt. History. And you mean to tell me that there is a TV show that's better? Nah. I can't wait to go see Napoleon Bonaparte. Deuce.